So we have here a route chapter that's also on a time limit and has Fog of War. 12 turns is really generous of a time limit though. So, okay then, I know that there is a hidden item around here. Let me just quickly check the map. It's somewhere around this area. It's a torch. And it should be, it's like 2 spaces of, right, it's right there, which actually makes sense. It probably fell off from the bigger burning watchfire here. Anyway, there's also something unique about this house right here. I'll talk about that once we get there, but if you care a lot about story in this game, you might want to send Oscar, Boyd, or Rolf in that direction. However, if you care about gameplay, you might not. Like I said, I'll explain that later on. Right, let's see. I think I might be able to finish that guy off with Rolf if I don't crit with Ike, that is. Or I could just do this, although I do want Ike going as far forward as possible. If I do send Rolf here, I really don't want him to get attacked by that Swordmaster. I love the way the battle maps look through this chapter, especially the full moon in the distance. I also like the way that wall looks. It's kind of a weird thing to like, but I do. And yeah, this wall having gaps in it means that archers can shoot through, and this guy here has a longbow. So what I like doing is I like positioning someone over here so that this guy is forced to run right up to the wall, and then picking him off with someone like Shinon or Rolf. Speaking of Rolf, let's just... Wow, you know you're doing badly when you're doing more damage with a crossbow than with a regular bow. Usually you hit a lot less hard with crossbows. Oh, he doesn't twirl the crossbow. I think it's only warriors that do that. Some of the crossbow victory animations had the character doing a crossbow twirl, which is pretty cool. Anyway, okay, Soren's actually doubling something, which is nice. He doesn't usually do that. And we still have this amazing battle theme. You'd think you could use fire magic to help light up Fog of War, but no. This isn't like a D&D game. You can't have creative secondary uses for spells. Like I said, I want to make sure that I go around here so that I lure this guy down to the very edge of the wall, and I could try hand-axing you, even though it's probably not the best option. Let's actually attack with Mia, even though Mia's probably going to stay around the early part of the map, because there are going to be warrior reinforcements eventually, and she's going to want to deal with them. I believe that would be what would be called an OTG in a fighting game, hitting someone while they're on the ground. It's sort of more like Gatry to go down here, though. Yeah, that's kind of not the best. Because I need my mounted characters to go over here to block off Rolf from being attacked by things like the Swordmaster or that guy. And there are also quite a few mages on this map. This map is mainly thunder mages rather than fire. If I go here, I can actually have Titania. That is a killing edge. I really don't want that attack to Rolf. And that's a terrible hit rate, but given that she's Titania, yeah, it'll probably hit anyway. Titania has like an extra 2 hit bonus for being Titania. Okay, I can send Gatry there, and that will block off Rolf. I guess I could also do that with someone like Shinon or Oscar. You know what? I'm going to do that with Oscar. I'm going to bring Oscar around there, and let's just equip the Steel Lance, even though I know that there are going to be ranged enemies around that area too. There are quite a few generals down here. That's why I wanted to use Gatry. Oh, I forgot to talk about these two. In fact, what I'm going to do is right now, I'm going to go direct and halt. I'll probably have to order them to target later, because I guess I'll show them now. So Leth is here. She is not transformed, so she's pretty vulnerable at this point, and she also brought her pathetically weak, useless sister, Lyra. So, Lyra is terrible. We'll be getting to Lyra's stats in more detail in a few chapters, but for now, Lyra is completely useless. She will barely do any damage to the enemies here, and she will die in 1 round to almost everything while untransformed. I mean, her HP is admittedly not that bad. These two won't die if they're defeated in this chapter, don't worry, but they are worth bonus experience if they survive, so I want to keep them alive here, which is easier said than done. Okay, like, I could attack this guy with Mist. and fail miserably. Yep, let's not do that. I think I'm actually going to have to use Shinon. Or I could use... You know what, I'm going to go ahead and actually have Gatry go up here. If this fails, I will have to use Shinon. And it failed! Okay, that could be a problem on the lower front. Because there are a few enemies that could slip through there. And I don't exactly want Boyd getting attacked by all of them. I probably should have just used Shinon in the first place. I mean, I know I'm training Gatry, but Shinon would have been guaranteed to finish this guy off. And that would have left the bottom front a little safer. Because I don't really want them getting too lethal liar. Okay, there's nothing there yet, but I think there are a few enemies, unless there are more on hard mode. I remember that on my hard mode playthrough, most recently, there was just a ton of generals down here, and the entire area got choked with generals. Anyway, yes, Rice needs to stay very, very, very far away from any enemies because he will get doubled into oblivion. Gatry took 1 damage, so at least I can get a little bit of experience from healing. Something to mention is that the partner phase was called Ally phase in the American version. They changed it in the European version to... that's not too bad. They changed it in the European version to match the naming from Path of Radiance, but the phase transition, or like the phase text, it just simply fades into the screen in this version, whereas in the American version, the letters would scroll individually. Kind of weird, but something else that's interesting is that, I mean, I haven't mentioned this yet, but I do know it. The miss and no damage graphics are also different in the European version. I did not know this until I looked up, I think it was the cutting room floor. But yeah, the miss and no damage graphics, annoyingly I can't see you to have Shinon shoot you, but the miss and no damage graphics in the European version, only the first letter is capitalized, whereas in the American version, they're all caps. Also, apparently in the American version, the P and HP is not capitalized on the level up screen. There are a lot more changes in the European version than I thought they were. There are also a lot of modifications to skill descriptions, because a lot of them in the American version, they forgot to... Yeah, I knew there was at least one more other general down there. They forgot to modify them to take into account the changes in the English version. So, for example, Resolve still says in the American version that it requires 30% HP or less, when it now requires 50% HP or less. Those were corrected in the European version. Though apparently there's at least one that introduced additional errors, but I forget exactly which one that is. You know what, I will be able to show something with the Black Knight a little later, because there is something that got fixed with the Black Knight too. The American version of his class's description said he wields the skill Luna, and it should actually say Eclipse. Yep, like I was right, there are tons of generals down there. Because in the Japanese version, Eclipse was referred to as Luna in brackets Black Knights. It was still called Luna, and that's the reason why it's called Black Luna in Heroes. Because they forgot they'd localize it as Eclipse in Radiant Dawn. I just realized sending Soren down here is probably a terrible idea, because he will one-round most of these generals, and that will cause him to suffer death by awesomeness. I might actually need to send Oscar down here instead. And then block off this area with a combination of Gatry and Oscar. Not Boyd, because Boyd is pretty bad on the defense front. Yep, I'm going to block these generals there. And then Boyd's going to go over here, because he's going to prepare for some more enemies that are going to eventually spawn from the beginning. Because yes, this chapter does do that, and a few waves of them at that. Now, I don't think Rolf is going to be doing very much damage to you. Yeah, not even critical is going to do much to that guy. I would like someone to go in there, though, because there are quite a few enemies going to head through those forests. Normally, I like to put Shin in there and have him equip a crossbow, but in this circumstance, I might not be able to. But you know what? I'm going to actually have... No, wait, I'm going to scout with Mia instead. Okay, no trap. In that case, I can probably afford to try one space ahead. No trap there, okay, let's end that, and hi there, lots of enemies. Oh great, someone with a steel great lance in front, and I didn't reveal that tile, so I can't Shinon that guy, which is very annoying. I was hoping to reveal that tile. Okay then, let's actually have Ike go here. That's exactly enough damage, isn't it? Pretty sure that is, although my maths could be totally wrong. Also a good thing that Gatry's not here, because that hammer really hurt him, and yes, that is exactly enough damage. I'll talk about this village once I get into a position to actually visit it. If Miss goes there, there's a possibility that that sniper could longbow her. So I may need to actually have Miss go here. And that is in fact a short spear, and I think there's more enemies hiding here. That's an annoying thing about Fog of War route chapters. Yeah, let's just finish you off. I'd normally like to send Soren down below to finish off the generals, but I want to get rid of this guy and Pointless Adept. There are a lot of people who say that Adept is better on other characters in this part than on Soren. Mia could probably make much better use of it than he could. It's sort of a shame. I mean, speed percent Adept is not that bad, but Soren's... And even if it was still skill percent, Soren's skill cap is terrible in this game too. You know what, I might let's not do that though. I'm gonna actually do this and then Canto one space back to have Rolf walked off. I still love the way that looks. And I can back it up a lot, but I'm just gonna back it up one space. So now, Rolf is gonna visit this village. So, I explained this before about this village, but I'll say it in more detail now. If you visit this village with Oscar, Boyd, or Rolf, you get slightly different dialogue, and you don't get an item, but you unlock a base conversation in the next chapter that also doesn't give you an item. So, if you visit with anyone else, you get a Seraph Row. So the choice is basically between story or an item. I personally prefer story, so I'm going to be visiting this village with Rolf, although Oscar and Boyd also work. All three of the brothers have different reactions to this. So if you use any of the three brothers, they actually refuse the item that she gives you. And we'll see why they do when we get to exactly who that woman is. If you use Oscar or Boyd, that woman does directly recognize them and will refer to them by name. So that's kind of interesting. You know what? I think I'm just going to have Shinon attack from here. I had a feeling he'd crit. Shinon is critting more with the basic bows than Rolf is critting with a killer bow, because of course he is. I normally use Shinon a lot more extensively in this chapter. His provoke is actually really, really useful here. Okay, the boss is already moving. Did not expect him to move this soon. I kind of like to have Ike fight him, because Ike has a decent conversation with the boss here. But if the boss is going that way, I might want to actually bring Rolf up there to maybe have Rolf try and get the experience from the kill. Well, I no longer need to lure you, because Provoke is awesome. I mentioned that Provoke is really useful here, and that was unintentional foreshadowing. Unfortunately, you didn't die. Yeah, I told you there were enemies hiding there. This chapter really likes to hide mages in the corners. I guess I can take this time to talk about how I feel about Fog of War route chapters. Radiant Dawn has quite a... Well, actually, by quite a few of them, I mean it has 2 Fog of War route chapters, so that's not really that many. To my knowledge, I'm pretty sure those... I mean, there's a Fog of War semi-route chapter later in Part 3, but it's not quite a full route. I'll explain what I mean by semi-route chapter later. But apart from this, there is another Fog of War route chapter, and yeah, Fog of War plus route is usually not a very good combination. Having to search for enemies in the darkness and having to find every single one to end the map. Definitely annoying. Sacred Stones had at least 2 of those. Both Creeping Darkness and Phantom Ship were Fog of War route chapters in the game. You see, I normally like to have Gatry up here, but I think for now Gatry's tanking in this area. For some reason, I always felt like Phantom Ship was never that annoying to finish by round, because the enemies tended to just charge into you and suicide themselves. Whereas in this map, there often are a lot of enemies hiding in places that you don't expect. Like, I'm pretty sure there's still an enemy down here, and it can get very annoying. I could try... Yeah, let's just heal Oscar. The second Fog of War route chapter is a lot more annoying than this, though, because there are reinforcements that spawn all over the place, and you have no way of seeing their spawn points unless you have vision to them. Those are annoying. Like, this chapter, they at least zoom the camera to tell you when reinforcements spawn. Not so much in the next Fog of War route chapter, but, like I said, I'll explain that much later. So, yeah, overall, Fog of War route chapters are, pretty annoying, and I still can't believe Rolf is doing more damage with crossbows than he is with regular bows. Rolf could try and shoot the boss with his killer bow, though. And yes, here is the boss, Romit. We unfortunately can't... Well, we wouldn't be able to steal the killer lance anyway, because it's locked, but... I could try for that, or I could get a guaranteed kill down here, but risk Rolf not being able to finish off the boss. You know what, I'm going to actually send Rolf up here to fight the boss. Well, don't blame us for being fast, blame you, because you're not normally provoked into moving this. Wow, Rolf is really not getting these criticals. The boss usually doesn't move this early. Might actually run and just put Shinon in the gap here. Even though he won't like taking a crit from the boss. But his evade rate is pretty good. Okay, let's just... Yeah, let's Rolf Spo you a couple of times. I feel like I may end up using Mia a lot more than... What I meant in her bio about me not really using her that much because I like Edward, that more refers to endgame. More because, you know, I will be using Edward in endgame, barring some extreme RNG screwage or something like that. Let's see if I... just not one-shotting with Etard, unfortunately, so I think I might actually... I am one-shotting with Titania, which is good. I often like to lead the charge here with Ike and Titania. The funny thing is that on easy mode, you can actually have Titania 3rd tiered before this chapter, which is ridiculous. And that's what they're doing to speedrun. Still can't see into that corner, and that worries me a little bit. There are also quite a few mages lurking in the darkness here. There's also a Halberdier lurking in the darkness, I'm pretty sure. For some reason, I've memorized a lot of the enemies in this chapter, but in a Fog of War route map, once you've played it a few times, you kind of learn where the enemies are, because you have to kill them all. Let's see if this can... Nope. Okay. Soren could do this, though. But like I said, I think there is actually another enemy waiting in the darkness down there. There better not be 2 physical enemies there, though, that can attack Soren, because that would be really bad. Soren is still just as fragile as he was in the last game. Possibly more so thanks to his awful speed. That is one reason why speed is... I don't think any enemy could leap out and attack miss from there, but I think there are something for the range weapons over there, or including you. So while I could do that, and do exactly enough to kill you, I don't think I'll take that chance. I'm a bit worried about Mist here, because she does get doubled surprisingly frequently by these enemies. I'm gonna wait until the coast is clear. Yeah, there's the thing about speed in the Fire Emblem series and what, I made the right call not using Mist here. She would not have liked getting hit by that crossbow. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why speed is such a broken stat in Fire Emblem, is because it's both offensive and defensive. So speed helps you double attack things, it also helps you avoid being doubled and thus take less damage. Not really sure what they could do to nerf speed. I know there are some people who like the lack of true hit phases that nerfs dodge tanking, but for once I'm actually glad at a non-killing critical, because there might be another enemy waiting in the darkness. Yeah, remember how I said there was an enemy down there? This is that enemy. Thankfully I couldn't get to Soren though. Personally though, I still like true hit, it reduces the impact that luck has on the game. I prefer the way that Shadow Dragon handled nerfing dodge tanking. They nerfed the evasion formula but kept true hit. So it was a lot harder to get high evade rates, but... And yeah, there are reinforcements. There are a lot of reinforcements, but you get a camera pan, like I said, there. So in Shadow Dragon, it's a lot harder to get high evade rates, but you still have true hit, so the impact of luck, of ridiculously bad luck, is still mitigated. Like, if you have a high hit rate, you will hit more often, and if you have a low hit rate, you will miss more often. It's just that it's a lot harder for enemies to have low hit rates, if that makes sense. That's how I prefer they handle nerfing dodge tanking. Because in some games the evade formula is kind of crazy. It's like triple speed plus luck or something. I forget if that's the case in this game. I don't have all of the Fire Emblem formulas completely memorized. Alright, this is about the point where I should stop having Soren kill things. Because he is much, much better off bonus experience than regular experience, and he's at a low level to the point where he gains a lot of experience from kills, so killing that guy may have either leveled him up or brought him dangerously close. So I might wonder for the moment, and I know there is an enemy up there. In fact, I know that's where the general fled to. And yes, I know it's also a Halberdier. I forget if there's a mage there, though. I guess we'll find out the hard way. And Oscar is going... No, actually, I think I will have... Well, nice that Geiju's actually doubling something. Yeah, Geiju does have amazing speed, but his speed cap isn't the best. Although, the funny thing is that... I didn't mention this back in Meg's bio, but Geitree in second tier, at least, is a higher speed cap than Meg, so... He fulfills the role of speedy armor better than she does, which pretty much invalidates her resistance. I think I might be able to L-Light. Nope, I can't L-Light you, but I can... Nope, I can't even do that. I could do that and then L-Light you. See, that's the thing I was talking about how generals in Part 3 are surprisingly fast. Not being dulled by Oscar is actually pretty good in the speed department. That is enough for Rice to L-Light you, though. Even though I'd like Boyd to get healed here. I'm pretty sure there are no more generals in fighting. But I'm not sure if I want Boyd to heal before visiting that village, just in case. Oh, and hey, Rice actually leveled up. Getting defense is not really going to help him, though. Because he still gets dulled by essentially everything in existence. I've got plenty of time to hit that village. Kind of wish Miss has a physics staff, though. I am pretty much positive there are no enemies down there, but never hurts to be cautious. Soren is just going to carefully creep around there, and Mist is also going to... She's still going to be careful. Now, if I get stalled here too badly, I might... Didn't mean to do that, but I guess Shinon gets to be a jerk for no reason, as is typical of him. That Horse Slayer can be a problem for Titania. Yeah, they knew how good Titania was here. I just realized putting Mia potentially in range of a Killer Axe might be... the Killer Lance might be a bad thing. She'll be leveling up soon, though. And in fact, I might be able to have Rolf try and, I have a feeling he's not going to kill you, though. Yep, doesn't even kill you with the crossbow. But, hey, maybe he can crit here. Maybe. Ugh, really? Has Rolf ever critical with his killer bow? I don't think so. Yeah, Rolf will get better once he starts getting enough speed to double, but until then, he's kind of bad at this point. Alright, I'm still gonna keep Miss back. Okay, you guys are heading towards Ike and Titania. I kind of underestimated your range there. But only 11 damage to Titania is actually not that much damage. And thankfully Titania is dodging 40 hit rates from mages, unlike how she was in the last. I underestimated your range too. However, your accuracy is terrible against me, so hopefully this doesn't hit. Good. Just when I was saying how Titania doesn't like that Horse Slayer, or a level 17, like I said in her bio, it's very easy to third tier Titania without really trying. That guy's still being a coward. Is that Halberdier going to attack me at all? Yeah, sometimes the enemy AI does some weird things. And hey, Vantage actually worked. Vantage has a weird activation aura in this game, though. It looks like a kind of a cloud of darkness. That was pretty much, well, not the best that I could hope for, but decent. That's what I was afraid of. Please don't hit and crit me. And at least Mia is, not doing a lot of damage even if she criticals. Alright, at this point I should probably turn my direct off of halt, because they won't be transforming if they're ordered to halt. At least I don't think they will be. Also, this is an example of why you really don't want enemies attacking Rice. Even though their hit rates are terrible, you still really don't want them attacking him. And, K-Tree is still not doubling you guys. Let's, I guess, try this because it's less of a hit rate. I kind of need Boyd to crit here. And he didn't. See, a lot of people in the comments mentioned how it's interesting because I didn't really... So basically, a lot of people in the comments mentioned how... Can I maybe hand axe you? Yes, I can. One more dead enemy is a good thing here. But they mentioned that they also find Boyd to be one of the weaker of the ground mercenaries. And it's interesting because back in the day, people used to consider Boyd amazing. Like, everyone was just singing his praises constantly, saying how he was easily one of the best characters in the entire game, and how he's pretty much equal to Nolan. But nowadays, the tune seems to have changed a bit. And I do kind of agree. Every time I've used Boyd, I always find that him not really being able to double most enemies early on definitely hurts, and his base strength is not all that high by warrior standards. I can't actually really kill that guy. I like how the enemy movement range just kind of gets cut off into the fog there. But even if I move Rice there, the AI can pretty much see everywhere, so I don't think he'll be protected. But yeah, so I am kind of glad to hear that I'm not alone in thinking that and finding Boyd a little bit underwhelming in this game. At least to start with. He definitely gets better. It's exactly enough damage, but there's somebody over here. Because that's actually a problem with this map. This map is a lot smaller than you probably think it is. So it's very easy to underestimate the ranges of certain enemies. To Etard you. I think Etard is also an After-Reading Mythology reference. I tried googling it and I couldn't find the... You are on 1 HP, dang it. No, you're not on 1 HP. You're on 0 HP. You're actually on negative HP, but still, this game doesn't do negative HP. Whenever I did try googling Etard, the name Peleus came up, so I think maybe Etard was Peleus's wife, but don't quote me on that. I know that Ragnall was named after the woman that Sir Gawain was in love with in Arthurian mythology. In fact, I might have explained that. I forget if I explained that or not, but I'm pretty sure I did. Because I remember hearing about the story of Sir Gawain and Lady Ragnall in high school literature classes. There was also Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, which, I don't know, I don't remember that much of that story, but I think I remember liking it. The Green Knight's also something that you see referenced in a lot of things. I feel like, but I'm... Yeah, because Soren's out of range of that. I feel like if Soren gets hit by the General and then the Mage... Yeah, well, who am I kidding? That Mage barely does anything to him, so I don't even care about Soren getting hit by that Mage. What I do care about is Soren getting hit by this guy, so I'm going to have Titania block him. I still love the way she charges into her pullbacks like that. I think Cavalry do that in Echoes too, but I'm not entirely sure. It was either Fates or Echoes where they do that. I know that they definitely don't do it in Awakening, although I could also be wrong about that. Okay, now is the question. Do I go for... Okay, your hit rate has gone up. I think your biorhythm just went out of really bad. So, just to not take any chances, also I need Mia down here, because there will be warriors coming out of the lower part soon. I'm actually going to have Shinon run here, and then just be a roadblock for the boss. Because as I said in his bio, Shinon is seriously? Shinon is just showing Rolf up constantly, which is pretty much what he does normally, but I would appreciate if Rolf actually... Oh, and that part of the wall is solid, so Rolf can't even shoot through that. I would appreciate if Rolf actually crit things, and Shinon stopped critting with 10%. Really? This is pretty typical Shinon and Rolf, but still. Okay, now, if Rice gets hit by both of those, he will die. However, if I weaken him with Rice, this guy will only ever get a chance to hit Rice once, because he will guaranteed die to the counterattack. That's good to know, because I was considering just having Rice move away. Because this way, Rice is definitely not going to die. Even though Leth or Lai is probably going to finish that guy off. And after that happens, I am definitely going to go ahead and put him back on halt. Or maybe even target, and just target some location that I know is safe, like maybe down here. Okay, I really don't want the General to attack missed. Yeah, because like I said, this map is a lot smaller than it seems, and because of that, the actually useful cat is attacking first. Good. Because of that, it's easy to underestimate the enemy's ranges. Oh no. Oh no. I don't think any archer can shoot her from there, but I really hope I'm wrong. Actually, a crit is a bit more of a risk to Shinon than I thought, but he's still fine. And you're going for Ike anyway. Because the enemy does tend to target your ward. There was a brief glimpse of some low-res grass there. And yeah, here is Ike's Achilles healing play, but thankfully the only other thing we can get to him is a General. And that missed anyway. Like I said in the last part, it would still be really cool if fire magic actually set the grass on fire. I wonder if it mined the 3 houses if they actually have the graphical power to do that. And you just off yourself, saving me the trouble, which is good. Okay, we should be getting close to the end of this chapter, although we're a little further from the end of the chapter because of that. I need to call off Liar, direct, and I'm just going to go ahead and say target that corner, because I really don't want Liar going near the boss. Because even though she's transformed, she still has 14 strength and only 22 attack overall. So, with 22 attack power, Liar can't hurt that guy. She can just barely hurt the boss, and yeah, that's the running theme with Liar. She kind of sucks. Decent balance of enemies here, an axe user, a sword master, and an archer. Okay, so step 1 is to try and kill that guy. How much speed is it? 19 speed. Yeah, all the enemies at this point have pretty good speed overall. Is there somebody that Gatry does decently against? Actually, moreover, is there somebody that's Oscar doubles? That's the first thing that I should be checking. No doubling on you. Not on you, which probably means not on you. Alright, yeah, Boyd kind of needs to crit something here. And Mia kind of needs to crit something here, so let's see if Mia can crit something here. And she did, good. I don't think we've actually seen Mia's critical and kill animation before. If she got it there, I would have eaten my words, but she didn't. That's good, that's one enemy down. But yeah, I might end up using Mia quite a bit, because she's still very, very powerful, and extra Sword Masters is always a good thing in this game, because Sword Masters are pretty great. Nope, don't do that. Definitely don't do that. Okay, so that Archer, and I think also this Sword Master both need to die if Rice is going to have any chance of surviving here. Rolf can take some time out of his busy schedule of boss abusing to maybe finish the Sword Master? Firstly, though, I want to go for this just to see if Boy can get a crit. Actually, I probably should have moved Oscar in a way that gets a wall support, but anyway. No crit. But that is a level up for Boyd. That's definitely a good thing about playing on normal mode as opposed to hard, is that the Grail Mercenaries, especially the lower level members, all get a chance to level up. Whereas on hard, the massive stifling in the amount of experience you receive kind of puts a damper on that. Rice is actually getting a bit more combat than I thought he would in this chapter. But you can clearly see just how risky having been fight he is. Pretty much everything doubles him. Though he is very accurate, but that's more of a trait of light magic as a whole. Now this guy, I can either... Yeah, you know what I think first thing I'll do is... I can reduce you to 12, and can Rolf do 12? Yeah, he does 13 with the crossbow, so I'm going to go for the Iron Lance, because that's a certain hit. It's always funny seeing a massive armored general with a huge shield just using a tiny twig of an Iron Lance. And yes, that no damage graphic would have been in all caps if this was the American version. Let's just, you know, just for fun, let's have Oscar go here so that Rolf gets an increased crit rate. Not that Rolf ever crits anything in, to begin with. And he did not. Now, Rolf should be leveling up from this, and if he doesn't gain strength, I'm going to be incredibly disappointed. Okay, good, he at least got strength. No speed, though. That is definitely a problem. However, in the next chapter we will be getting our speed wing that we found back in part 2. And I might have no choice but to use it on him. Now again, gotta remember that the enemies here have more movement than you probably think they do. I'm just gonna take down you, just because. These should be the last few enemies. Like most Fog of War maps, this one's not that hard if you approach it cautiously. Of course, Shinon would be showing up Rolf like that too. Again, this is pretty typical of Shinon. And can Titania double anything here? I feel like maybe not. But I think she might be able to nope, she can't quite one-shot that mage, but she does double it. Ike will almost certainly double that guy, though. But that will... No, not if Ike goes there. That won't put him in range of the boss. Okay, so plan here is... Titania deals with... Can Soren double the general? Yes, he can. That's fine. Okay, so plan here is Titania takes down that guy. And he dies to counter. I'm seeing a lot more use out of counter in this playthrough than I ever had before. Just like I'm seeing a lot more use out of Howl. I think in all of my earlier playthroughs, I never saw Howl activate, and if I did, I've immediately forgotten about it. Yeah, I need to finish you off. Hopefully Soren dodges this. Soren will obviously get a lot better at dodging once he starts supporting with Ike, because like I said in the last chapter, I actually have to support him with Ike for a certain conversation. If that wasn't the case, I'd probably support Ike with someone else, and that is actually pretty bad. But I needed Soren to kill that general, because watch this. Yeah, 2 stats. He still actually gained luck and defense, though, which is a lot better than an average non-bonus experience level up for him. Actually, I just realized I haven't got the torch. Okay, yeah, 17 times 2 would be 34, I think, so just not enough. Okay, something I forgot to mention in the last chapter, and then I crit anyway, because it's amazing. Something I forgot to mention in the last part. So, don't worry about using Etard a lot, because we will be finding another one very, very soon, in part 3, chapter 4. No torch. Alright, then moving to the target, good. And I haven't visited that village yet. I just remembered. Thank you, camera, for panning over there. Oh, no. Well, at least that was the non-kill animation. That was also pretty unlikely. Oh, crap. I forgot you had a ranged weapon. Well, at least you're not dying. And, you know, knowing Shinon, he's gonna critical this. Of course he is! I'm stunned silent. Yeah, I knew there was another mage hiding there. I just had a feeling. Sometimes you just sense this kind of thing when you've played the series as long as I have. I can just tell. There's another mage hiding back there, isn't there? I still love the Grail Mercenaries phase begin fanfare. Okay, Rolf can't quite get back to where the boss is, but I could shove him back there. Or at least shove him close to getting back there. Shit, Shinon does not have any healing items. That's actually really, really bad. Rolf doesn't have any healing items. However, somebody here, yes, Oscar does. So Oscar can do this. Swap that over. Rolf can still attack the boss, and then Shinon can take the vulnerary. Come on, Rolf, you can critical at least one of these. Finally! And then Rolf might be able to finish the boss off next turn. Because now Shinon can, although... No, vulnerary will put him at 36, and that will be enough to survive a critical. I thought it would put him at 26 for a second, and I think that would be exactly enough for a critical to kill him. Which would be terrible. But that's good. I can maybe just heal. And yeah, as you can see, his map model now has a staff because he's equipping said staff now, which is usually a really bad thing. Okay, Romit is over there. I'm actually not going to have Ike fight that guy, although if I might not be able to see you if I move Ike one space back. Let me just test that. No, I can still see you, probably because of the watch fire. And let's just, I don't know, let's just use fire, because why not? It is the lowest weapon rank that Soren has, so at least he's raising his fire level with this. Both of his other weapon ranks can't. That was probably because I made him use Hell Thunder quite a bit in Path of Radiance. And Pointless Adept again. And like I said, I say like I said a lot, but I now need to... Okay, I can't shove Boyd sideways, so it's going to take another turn for me to visit that village, but... pretty soon anyway, and let's just go ahead and heal Titania, and then maybe try for the torch with Titania. I'm pretty sure that space is where the torch is. And they get to scout out that spot. The cats do have pretty good vision, so they do make for effective scouts on this map if you want to... Yeah, that's 27, so... 26 would have been... I have a feeling the boss is the last thing left, so let's just visit this village. And this village should remind you of the villages from Path of Radiance Chapter 11. Yeah, they're all racist jerks, but we get a blue gem for that, which is going to be very, very useful in the next chapter, because if there's one weakness the Grail Mercenaries have, it's that they have money issues. Maybe the torch isn't there. Forget the exact coordinates for it, but I can now, hopefully, if I use the steel bow will work, and the crossbow will definitely work. Let's use the crossbow. So maybe it was a good thing that I got the crossbow in the last chapter. Because I actually had two different attempts of 3P that I could have used. One of them, Rolf got a really good level up, and in the other, I got the crossbow. So maybe getting the crossbow was the right call. Okay, that's pretty much, in fact, I think that is the exact same good level up Rolf got in the attempt of 3P where I didn't get the crossbow, so it actually averages out. And that's over, because Ike's saying a line here. So overall, for a Fog of War route chapter, it's not that obnoxious, probably because the map is so small. And with that, the gate is open. And Scrimmy can do what he does best, that is not thinking. Yeah, I'm actually not sure how the time limit works for this chapter. Maybe if you run out of time, Scrimmy ends up attacking them anyway and you haven't got the gate open and then he gets slaughtered. I don't know. I've never actually failed that chapter by time limit before. As always, a plan that you don't tell the audience about is one that's likely to succeed. Some people in the comments also mentioned that Ranulf has that condition, I think it's like heterochromia, where you have two eyes of differing colours. In real life, that is fairly, well, not like common, but it's more common than it is in humans. Decently common in cats, I think, in real life, so it makes sense for a cat lagoose to have it. And hey, it's Mustin! You look so much less creepy now, is what Ike's probably thinking. Oh, although the other thing that Ike's probably thinking is, oh no, if he's here, it means that she's here. And by call up some other friends, he means Nephany, Har, Ileana, and Braun. So this is the point where we start to get that inventory transfer mechanic. Actually also Heather. That's a pretty good way to put it. And that is the chapter over, and, wait, really? I thought that those two were worth bonus experience if they survived, unless that's only on easy mode? Maybe it's only on easy mode. Anyway, that's that chapter out of the way. Next time, like Ike says, we're going to be getting some reinforcements, and we're also going to get our first access to the shop in Part 3, and this is where I'm going to be selling all of the stuff I had Ileana deliver. So the ground mercenaries are not going to be strapped for cash for very much longer. I might also demo what coins do in forging in the next chapter as well. So, see you then.